Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Pocket video here on iStarly TV. So the new set is live, it has been live for about a week now, and I've been trying a lot of new decks, and I'll be honest, I've been having a lot of fun with this set. It feels like one of the most fun sets that they've added in a long time. There's still a lot that I want to try out and explore, and at least right now it does feel like they've opened up a lot of, this set has opened up a lot of new potential decks to try and just a lot of cool and fun combinations. So as you can see here, I did say in my pack opening video I would build a Kingdra EX deck and an Ampharos EX deck because I opened two of these full art Amphoroses, which are just amazing. Like the artwork is just beautiful. And I did build a Kingdra deck. I tried it a little bit. I haven't played it that much if I'm being honest, so maybe I'll feature that deck soon hopefully. But there is another deck in addition to this one that I've been having a lot of fun with, that's playing some new cards and playing some old cards that didn't see any play before but are, in my opinion, really good now. So I'm going to be featuring that deck probably after this one because that deck has been a lot of fun. But this is another deck, this Ampharos deck, that has been a lot of fun for me. So real quick, 150 HP for Ampharos. For 2 energy, it has Thunder Punch, which does 80 damage. But you can flip a coin, and if it's heads, you do 40 more damage, so you do 120 damage. Or if it's tails, you do 20 damage to yourself. Now, honestly, by itself, this is already an okay attack. You compare it to something like Electivire, who can do 120 damage, but you need to have 4 energy on it. And Electivire only has 120 HP, although, of course, Electivire, first of all, has a supporter card that can help it, a couple supporter cards, actually. And also, it's only a stage 1. Ampharos also has a supporter card that can help it, of course, in the new Will card. So of course this is like a card that a lot of people have been talking about. I've been playing a lot of this card and it has been actually really good in my opinion, depending on what decks you're playing it in. And in this deck it's really good. So of course Will, basically, I know the wording is a little awkward, some people have found it to be kind of confusing, but basically what happens is when you play Will, the next coin flip you do this turn is guaranteed to be heads. So if you have an effect or an ability or an attack that requires multiple coin flips, the first one will always be heads 100% of the time if you use Will, and then the rest of them will just be 50-50 like always. So, of course, we're pairing this with Ampharos, which guarantees 120 damage for only 2 energy, which is really, really powerful. The rest of the cards supporting this are, I'm playing 2 copies of Pichu, the baby Pokemon, so of course the upside of Pichu is that you can kind of accelerate your Pokemon. You can accelerate Ampharos to attack really, really early. And also, I mean, Ampharos only requires 2 energy though, so it's not like, you know, I guess the upside is if you go first and you have Pichu and then Mareep, you can Pichu to put an energy on Mareep, and then the second turn, put an energy on it, evolve it, and then do 120. So it allows you to more explosively do that, whereas if we were not playing Pichu, we would not be able to do that right away on the second turn. We're also playing 2 copies of Zeraora, pretty unsurprisingly. Zeraora is also really good because it can automatically get energy. And then another new card that's been really good, oops, my game is lagging, is Elemental Switch, which is an item. It's not a supporter, so you can use it in addition to supporters, which is really powerful. And it lets you move an energy from one of your benched Pokemon to your active Pokemon. This is obviously really good with Pichu and Zeraora because these are 2 Pokemon that can kind of generate energy, like extra energy effectively. So it just makes it easier for you to kind of just attack with Ampharos when you need to. And it means that there are going to be turns where maybe you can like move in an Oricorio against an EX to tank a hit. And then maybe the next turn, like even if you have 0 energy on your Ampharos, you can like set it up in 1 turn out of nowhere and just knock stuff out. And I'm playing 1 copy of the Pikachu EX from Shining Revelry, just as another way to like get off a large chunk of damage. So we can kind of do 150 out of nowhere. 150 is a really important number because it does one-shot a lot of common Pokemon in the meta. Although, of course, you know, Giant Cape exists, but 150 is a pretty important number, I would say. So just that ability to potentially knock stuff out in 1 shot is huge. The rest of the deck, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We're playing Ampharos, which is a stage 2, which means we are playing Rare Candy. Of course, we're playing Double Pokeball. We have a lot of basics in the deck. And then also we are playing Professor's Research. So unfortunately, there's not really a lot of room for like unique effects. Like we're not playing Sabrina, we're not playing any tools, we're not playing, I was playing one copy of Giant Cape, but that was before I added the Pichus. I feel like if you're gonna play Pichu, you should play 2 copies just because you really only want it first. Like you really only want it in the active spot, like turn 1. If you draw it late game, it's really awkward. And in fact, one card that I thought about adding into the deck was Pokemon Communication, just in case there's ever situations where we draw Pichu later in the game and we want to just shuffle it away for a better Pokemon. But I don't know, I just don't know if I can fit it. Like we definitely want double Pokeball, double Research, double Will, double Candy. And then again, if we're playing Zeraora, I feel like we want 2 copies of it. If we're playing Pichu, I feel like we want 2 copies of it just because we always want to start with these Pokemon. And then Oricorio, you know, it just feels like you kind of, if you're playing Electric, you should also just be playing Oricorio because there are some situations where you can just kind of win a game simply because you have it. So I don't know, it just feels like this deck is really tight. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of room to make changes. But if you have ideas, let me know. You know, something that I've noticed with this deck is I've really wanted like some more card draw, like Sylveon or something like that, but unfortunately we just can't fit it. I have seen a version of this deck, a similar version, that is playing Sylveon with Eevee. Of course, if we're doing that though, we're cutting a lot of our other Pokemon, so we're not really having the support that we want. Although I could see a version of that working, and you just kind of focus all in on the Ampharos game plan. So maybe I'll try a version of like that as well if this version doesn't do too well. But this has been doing pretty well for me. So let's get to some games and see how it does. All right, we've got our first opponent. They like cool Pokemon. And we are playing ranked, and I'm still an Ultra Ball right now, but this season has been going all right. Of course, as always, I try a bunch of different things, so my win rate is not always great. I just like to try new, especially when the set is new. I just like to try a lot of new stuff. I enjoy playing like the meta decks, but then I get bored of them quickly. Like if I want to play Sylveon Greninja, like it's a fun deck in my opinion, but then, and it's obviously really powerful, but I just kind of get bored of it like really quickly. So I can't just grind meta decks the whole time. I kind of have to be trying new things. And we are up against probably our worst matchup. This is probably going to be a loss just right off the bat because my opponent, I mean, they're playing a fighting deck. It's really interesting, like with Donphan EX, like it feels like it's brought back a lot of the strong fighting Pokemon from previous metas that haven't really seen much play recently, but there's a world here where, actually maybe not. Yeah, we double Pokeball there and we just found the 2 worst things. I don't think there's a reason to play another Pichu on the bench, so we're just going to go ahead and die. Oh man, yeah, I think we just lose right away. Because we put an energy on Pikachu. Because we're going first, you know, that's all we can do. We can't put another energy on Pikachu. My opponent is going to knock out Pichu in 1 hit here. And, I mean, hey, these Pokemon are a lot better these days when everyone's playing the babies. Like, I've seen people play Tyrogue. I've seen people play, like, Fanbee. I've seen people play, like, I guess now Sudowoodo, because they can just kind of cleanly knock out, like, baby Pokemon and stuff like that. So, you know, that's the risk of babies. I mean, baby Pokemon are not, like, in every deck, but they're actually pretty strong. Like, they're actually seeing play in some strong decks. But anyways, yeah, so we double Pokeballed there. We found Pikachu EX, which is... Oh, wait, I'm sorry, wait. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm dumb. Okay, I thought this was weak to fighting. I guess baby Pokemon, now that I remember it, baby Pokemon do not have a weakness. So this actually is kind of decent for us. I mean, we have Ampharos next turn. I guess, since we have Ampharos next turn, I'm going to do this. I just got to hope my opponent doesn't, like, red card or Mars. So I think we're just going to go ahead and, well, we're going to do this. Let's go ahead and put it on the Pikachu just so we have the option to knock something out later. And again, I completely forgot baby Pokemon actually do not have any weakness. I just kind of assumed, like, oh, this is an electric type, so it's weak to fighting. So I thought that they would one-shot me. Sorry about that. Yeah, I just completely forgot that baby Pokemon don't have a weakness, which is one way of balancing them. Like, baby Pokemon are weird. They always have 30 HP. They have 0 retreat cost. They have 0 weakness. Their attacks cost 0 energy, but of course, The downside, because that's all really strong, but the downside to them is that they have 30 HP, which means a lot of attacks are going to knock them out very easily. But we let them knock us out in 2 hits, which is cool. They don't have any energy on Marshadow just yet, so we can just go into Mareep here and just get the clean knockout on Sudowoodo, even though we don't have Will. No matter what we flip with the coin, we are going to knock out Sudowoodo because our base damage is 80. Of course, we hope that we get heads because that means we're not going to take damage ourselves. As for this Pichu, my theory, or I mean, this is not like a revolutionary theory. If you draw these Pokemon, the baby Pokemon late game, I think often you just want to hold them in your hand the whole time. Like, you don't ever want to play them on the bench because they're just easy knockouts for like Sabrina or Cyrus or like Greninja shenanigans. So, I mean, there are going to be situations where you will still play them on the bench even if you draw them late, but in a lot of cases, you know, I think you want to just hold on to them. So let's go ahead and knock out Sudowoodo here. Like I said, I hope that we get heads. We do not. We're going to go down to 130 HP, but we are going to, of course, cleanly knock them out, which is great. And, I mean, Ampharos is strong. Like, Ampharos can also one-shot Lucario and Marshadow here. So it does put my opponent in a predicament. My opponent also only has 1 point. So if they are able to knock out Ampharos at some point, I am, you know, they're only going to go up to 2 points. They're not going to automatically win the game. So that's another reason why Ampharos is so strong, because it has a high HP pool. It can do a lot of damage, and if they ever do knock it out, they only get 1 point for it. And again, 150 HP, that's pretty huge, especially for a non-EX. Iono, that's fine. We don't need any of the cards in our hand at that point, so if anything, we're happy about this. Wow, and they just drew us into a second Ampharos. That's great. Of course, the way it's looking here, though, it's possible we could actually win this game. Because we can... we need heads. We need heads here. Or will, which we do not get. Okay, let's take a look here. So I'm going to play... Oh, they do... Wow, they just concede. Maybe they thought I had will there, which I, of course, did not. I mean, I am playing it, but... I think that was a hasty concession. I mean... So we were gonna... There was an option to go into Pikachu to guarantee the kill on Lucario, and honestly, maybe that was just the right play. Maybe I should have just done that. Because, of course, what that would do is it would mean that basically all of our Pokemon would have 0 energy on them after that turn, because we would need 2 energy to retreat Ampharos, and then we would need 3 energy for Pikachu's attack, and then, of course, Pikachu discards all the energy on it after it uses that attack. So all our Pokemon would have 0 energy, but they would just have a Marshadow, which would not be able to attack right away. Plus, Marshadow would only be doing, what, like 40 damage? I guess 60. Is that right? Is that what it does? I think it does 40, but then if something got knocked out, it does 60 more. Either way, I'm pretty surprised we won that game. Obviously, like, it was kind of maybe dumb of me, the fact that I forgot that baby Pokemon don't have a weakness, which really saved me, because I was expecting Pichu to go down right away, but... Yeah, hey, we won that game against our weakness. I'm not sure if they were playing Donphan. If they were, I mean, Donphan is a really scary threat for my deck, but everything else they had going on was just not really that scary because they were just easily knocked out by Ampharos. Let's go to another game. So yeah, like I said, I mean, I really like this new set. I love Johto. I mean, if you've heard me talk about anything, you probably know that already. So this is one of my favorite sets so far, and... It does feel like, I mean, just the fact that, I mean, I don't know for sure if they were playing Donphan EX, but just the fact that, like, Pokemon or cards from previous sets that were pretty much long forgotten have been given a chance thanks to this set, that's amazing, right? Like, the fighting Pokemon, like Lucario, I've been hearing a lot of talk about Lucario and seeing a lot more Lucario because of Donphan EX. You know, Pokemon like, I mean, I guess Ampharos is new, but other Pokemon that have coin flip abilities are seeing a lot more play because of Will. I think that's great. You know, we'll see if it continues. I know people have been talking a lot about Crobat EX, Umbreon EX, Donphan EX, like I said. You know, even Ho-Oh and Lugia. I mean, I don't think Ho-Oh and Lugia are meta, but like they're a little bit better than people might have thought. So even myself included, Espeon EX is actually really good, believe it or not. So yeah, this set has been awesome. Anyway. We get a full bench right off the bat. I think it's fine to just place everything on the bench right away. I mean, we don't know exactly. I mean, my guess is we're up against the Psychic Eevee deck that plays Espeon EX, Sylveon EX, and then sometimes like the non-EX Sylveons. Question is, what do we put the energy onto? My opponent is, this time they are going to get a free knockout. Honestly... Let's put it on Marie. That's kind of risky. But if we draw if we draw Ampharos, we can kind of pull ahead really significantly here. So, I mean, yeah, if we draw Ampharos and Will, well, we'd have to like draw Will off the top and then draw No, okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any way we can draw Will and Ampharos, but we're really just looking for Ampharos here, because if we can knock out this Eevee EX, that's such a massive start for us. Because, yeah, they're going to knock out Pichu. I guess they could have evolved, is that right? No, they could not have evolved, never mind. So... I could go into Oricorio. I guess I should have foreseen the potential here. This is a risky line for me. Okay. We need to see Ampharos here. If not... There it is. And we did draw Will, but of course we cannot use it this turn. I'm going to go for it. If we get heads, we're just in such a massive advantage. Oricorio, we also have Oricorio in the back, and they're playing, you know, a lot of EX Pokemon in their deck. So, like, later on, Oricorio can have a lot of value. But if we get heads here, this is massive. Wow. Okay, yeah, we go ahead and knock them out. So they wasted a cape. They lose an Eevee, so they're down 2 points. And this is really scary for them because it kind of forces them to evolve whatever they bring in here. Because if they don't, they lose. If we just, I mean, all we need to do is attack. We don't even need to flip heads or tails. Like, it doesn't matter. So yeah, this is a really good situation. And we can also start setting up Pikachu in the back and potentially just eventually get that kill. Just kind of get that one-shot kill. So let's start loading up, right? We're definitely going to will for Ampharos here. Which of these do I put it on? I think I'm going to put it on Pikachu because it just kind of makes Pikachu into like a ticking time bomb. Eventually, Pikachu's just going to knock something out. And if we can do a lot of damage now... oh, yes! Oh, that's awesome. This Psychic Eevee deck has been seeing a lot of play lately, and it's been pretty strong. But yeah, wow. I mean, we didn't win right that turn, but they would have gone down to 20. They could heal with Espeon, which would put them up to like 50, right? But I could see why they might have conceded there, because it just kind of looks like a losing battle. Because at that point, we just have like a consistent stream of damage from Ampharos, which is kind of hard for them to keep up with. And then again, eventually Pikachu is just able to come in and just pretty much knock something out because we're just doing that consistent damage. Even if we're flipping tails, even if we run out of wills and we're flipping tails with Ampharos, you know, it's really good. And so there's another deck that I've been playing with Will that's been awesome and a lot of fun, but the coin flip is a lot less reliable. With Ampharos, the coin flip is pretty good because even if you run out of will or you don't have will, you know, you're still 50-50 to do 120 damage, but also the worst case scenario is you do 80 damage, which is really just not bad. So yeah, this card has been amazing. Let's just do one more game. Usually I only do 2, but you know, those 2 were kind of quick. Let's do another game here. And here we have our 3rd game. I have been getting pretty lucky with the Pichus. Again, that's why you want to run, if you're going to run Pichu, you run 2. Like, I don't think you can afford to run just 1, because then you're less likely to see it. And hey, this is an opener. This seems like a really good opener. We just like have everything. I mean, obviously we don't have Ampharos yet, but as far as energy acceleration, we are getting there. So I'm just going to play everything out. Like, I feel like it just gives us more options. I mean, maybe that's a little hasty, but you know, we might as well go for it, right? Oh, we're playing against the Magcargo deck. That's another reason why it's good to just play everything out there. Wow, we've got the early Ampharos. Okay, so let's go ahead and yeah, we definitely just put the energy on Mareep here, because then next turn we can go Ampharos. And if they don't evolve their Slugma here, well, actually they can't. So we just win the game, right? Unless they play their bench Slugma. But here's the funny thing. So this is the Magcargo deck from the new Magcargo card from the new set. Magcargo, it does basically it's kind of like the old Dragonite's ability. You choose 3 Pokemon at random, which includes your Pokemon and your opponent's Pokemon, and it does 50 damage 3 times. So it can do, you know, it randomly spreads the damage. We win the game. We win the game on turn 2. That's why I love this card. So what they do typically is they try not to play Pokemon on their bench, because Magcargo will not hit itself. So basically they don't put any Pokemon on their bench, and then they use Magcargo's attack, which only requires 2 energy, and they do 150 damage spread out against your Pokemon. So, you know, sometimes they'll get some knockouts. It's basically like a better version of the Dragonite, the old Dragonite that everyone tried to play. But we just win the game. That's the big downside to the Magcargo deck, is they try not to play anything on their bench until they absolutely have to. But hey, Pichu won us that game. We literally drew everything we needed, and that worked out perfectly. And this deck has just been so great. This is such an amazing showcase of this deck. Yeah, so this is the Ampharos deck. Now, I know I put Amphos in the title. I'm weird. Like, when I name my decks, I just try to sometimes name them. Sometimes I'll name them like oh, if I'm playing Umbreon EX, I'll name it Umbreon EX. But sometimes I'll just name it something really weird or silly just to make myself laugh. And so sometimes I'll name the deck like a funny like way of saying the Pokemon's name for some reason. Like I instead of typing Ampharos, I typed Amphos, because it's like I don't know. I'm weird. But I like to name my... So if you ever see my deck titles and they're like stupid names or silly names, or like they're spelled super wrong, just know that I did that on purpose. Anyway, this was one of the best showcases of a deck that I think I've ever shown on screen. We got so lucky. I mean, 3 games in a row we led with Pichu, which is pretty much what you want in this deck. And then, you know, that last game, I mean, all of them were just kind of like pretty decisive, and I feel like we got really lucky. But I think that could speak to the consistency of the deck. Like, we're trying to be energy manipulation. Like, we're trying to use energy manipulation with Pichu and Elemental Switch. And, I mean, Zeraora, again, also accelerates. I mean, this is a good deck. Like, this is feeling like a good deck. So if you want to try it out, go for it. And of course, the beauty of this deck is you really don't need any EX Pokemon. Obviously, you see the Pikachu EX. You can play this deck without Pikachu. You know, something that I always worry about when I'm playing like a Oricorio Zeraora deck is those cards combo really well together because they're just like consistent means of doing like chunks of damage. But of course, they don't do a lot of damage. But Ampharos really covers that. Ampharos is capable of doing a lot of damage. So if you don't own the Pikachu EX, even though it is an old card, you don't need to play it, honestly. You could just swap out Pikachu for like a Pokemon Communication or a Giant Cape or something, or whatever you want, or even another electric Pokemon, and just go from there. So you can play a second Oricorio if you want. But yeah, this deck I think is pretty easy to build, and it's just a lot of fun and really powerful. So if I had some advice for the deck, like I said, you know, if you draw Pichu late, you don't need to play it on the bench. Sometimes you might need to, but for the most part, you're going to just not want to play it. And, you know, try to play Zeraora as early as possible. I know that's not like great advice or anything like that, but keep in mind like when you need Will and when you don't, because again, there's going to be situations where you have Will in hand and you have Ampharos, but you sometimes want to hold Will for the key turn. So if you're up against something and you need that knockout, and Will get you that knockout guaranteed, you can go for it. But even if Will would get you that knockout, you can think about it like, oh, I had a game earlier where my opponent had like, and this was another Pokemon that if you flip a heads, or if you flip tails, the attack does nothing. And my opponent had like 2 Pichus in play and like an Oricorio and a Zeraora, and I had Will in hand, and I thought like, okay, I can use Will to guarantee a kill, to guarantee get the point, or I could just flip naturally, and if I get heads, or if I get tails, I don't knock them out. But their bench was so bad that I was like, even if I get tails and I don't knock anything out, that's fine. Like I don't lose anything by doing that, really. So those are situations, again, it's kind of nuanced, but there might be situations where you have a Will in hand and you have Ampharos in play, but you don't even need to use it, right? So think about that as well. It's not like every time you have Will, you're going to use it, right? Because of course there's only 2 Wills, and sometimes you need to knock out 3 Pokemon to get the win. So just knowing when to use your Will is important. Another thought I've had with the deck, because again, you guaranteed, you need 2 rare candies, you need 2 research, you need, I don't know if you need 2 Pokeballs, but you probably should. Elemental Switch is one card where I'm like not 100% certain about. Like with Zeraora and Pichu, it feels amazing, especially with Pikachu, because you know, Pichu and Zeraora can both like accelerate energy, and then later on you can just like I said earlier, just kind of out of nowhere just one-shot them because you can move energy to Pikachu. So having 2 copies of Switch helps, but there's a world where you could only play 1. That's fine. Maybe if you go lower on, like, I don't know. I mean, it's possible if you want to go all in on Ampharos EX, or Ampharos, you could play Sylveon EX, like I said. So I don't know. There's just so many possibilities, but I really love this deck. It's a lot of fun. And I love, once again, how beautiful that Ampharos artwork is. So let me know in the comments what you think. If you have ideas for improving the deck or how you would play it yourself. And if you want to try the deck out, let me know how it does for you. I'm looking forward to hearing back. And yeah, I had a lot of fun playing it. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time.